Arman Tsarukyan is the nicest dude in combat sports, and that's why everybody keeps punking him. They're mistaking kindness for weakness. Ryan Garcia owes Arman Tsarukyan $40,000, and he's refusing. He's blatantly refusing to pay it. There's no miscommunication, no misunderstanding, no understandable type of delay. He's just refusing. And when he tries his best to justify and defend and articulate his reasons, everybody says, boo. I don't know how many comments I've read of people saying, I love you, Ryan. I'm a fan, Ryan. I've been riding with you, Ryan. But this is pathetic. This is shameful. So it's not just Arman fans. It's not just MMA fans, anti-boxing fans. Everybody's coming after Ryan. And I want to let you know that I did my due diligence for you. And I'm not proud to admit it, and already as I'm halfway through sharing this with you, I'm kind of regretting it. But I watched somewhere between a 5 and 6 hour stream about this whole thing playing out, just so that I could say that I had chanclas on the ground and that I did my due diligence for you. So let me tell you how this thing played out. It was the same old routine, you know? And again, now after the fact, I don't know if Ryan is in some kind of financial troubles like Mayweather style. Like, you know, you see online, if you go on Google, you'll see Ryan Garcia is anywhere between a 50 and 60 millionaire. You know, he should be having them stacks according to the AI. You go on the, you know, whether it's Ryan Garcia, whether it's Mayweather, you go on Google, you check the worth, okay? You go on Instagram, you see the private jets, you see the stacks of cash Breaking Bad style, you see the exorbitant amounts of McDonald's, and you're like, they're living the life. This is what I aspire to. Maybe not everybody, but you understand what I'm saying. But then you see the way that he's ruining his entire reputation and clutching onto this 40K like it's his last. He needs to hold on to this till the next fight. He's probably going to have to use it to bet on himself for the next fight. So they were hanging out at his house, and it was like some kind of collaboration, you know? And if you've seen any Ryan Garcia collaborations, you know what that means. That means, oh, hello, nice to meet you. Okay, put this suit on, this bodyguard thing. Put this on so I could punch you in the stomach. Oh, okay, thank you. Have a nice day. That's a collaboration with Ryan Garcia. Very original. So that's what was going to happen, right? There was a lot of contest type of things going on where they wanted to see, let's see who's better at this, let's put some money on that. It was very interesting. It was kind of like it was like what you would think it would be like if you kind of were a fly on the wall at like a college frat house or something like that. The whole thing is on YouTube, by the way, if you want to check it out. Just, I don't know, put in like Ryan Garcia, Arman Tsarukyan live stream. It's like a 5-6 hour long video. And at one point in this video, I mean, it was getting so crazy. At one point, Ryan Garcia, and again, this is a video that you can find. I'm not making this up. I'm not making some silly jokes here off the cuff. Ryan Garcia was walking around in a wig. He was walking around in a blonde wig, Oscar de la Hoya style. And I know I've said this before. I don't think this is something original. I'm sure a lot of people have made this connection before, especially since they work so closely together. Ryan Garcia has often reminded me of a, you know, younger De La Hoya, of like De La Hoya when he was young. They have a lot of similarities, and I think we found another one. During the stream. He's walking around in a blonde wig, and he was really feeling himself, both metaphorical and physically. And it was a little uncomfortable to watch. But I was only about an hour in, and I had 4 to go. So I had come too far to look back. And there was kind of like a sleepover tone. You know, like, do you ever remember like back in the days when you like spend the night at the homie's house, the cousin's house, or whatever, and at some point everybody gets a little bit delirious. Everybody starts getting a little bit crazy. They start acting up. They start doing things that maybe they normally wouldn't. And again, it felt very frat house-ish. And they started doing things like, I swear, dude, if you watch this video, you'll see what I'm talking about. They were acting like elementary type students. They were like, let's see who. They literally did this. They went outside and they were like on the driveway, and they were seeing who could jump farther. They wanted to see who could jump the farthest. And then they'd have a guy put his shoe right there to mark it, and then the next guy would jump. Then they were doing a contest to see who could jump the highest and touch something on the roof. It was unbelievable. They're like, who could spit the farthest? Who could fart the loudest? It was crazy. And at one point, it was getting so crazy that Ryan Garcia had to go enlist the help of his lawyer when it came time to finally put the thing on and throw some body shots, because Arman Tsarukyan had a friend that was like, I want some body shots, but he didn't want to this thing right here. And I apologize for the people that are listening and they're driving and maybe doing laundry or landscaping right now and they can't look. I'm just referring to this little thing I have right here in the dojo, the bodysuit, so you could get punched and stuff. Arman Tsarukyan had a homie. He's like, I don't want to put that on. Just hit me. And Ryan Garcia started spazzing out, man. He was having like an episode. And we know that Ryan Garcia has had episodes in the past, but I don't know if he's ever had them on camera. And he went to enlist the help of his lawyer. I don't know if you've ever seen him. I've never seen Ryan Garcia's lawyer until this stream right here. So he went and found this dude. And I'm expecting to see some dude walk out dressed like Laura Stanko in the 7-piece suit, you know? This dude all slick back with the 3 flowers, looking all professional and everything, all clean cut. This dude, he finds his lawyer. And it looked like... His lawyer looked like a homeless dude. His lawyer looked like he needed a public defender. He was one of the most sketchy. He was the most sketchy looking dude on the premises. He kind of looked like a younger version of Stephen Wright. If you don't know who Stephen Wright is, please, I was gonna urge you during this video, but please don't kill my retention of my watch time. Please, after this video, look up the comedian Stephen Wright, and there are definitely some. I have a suspicion that he may be the illegitimate love child of Stephen Wright, and he went to get this dude's help, and this dude didn't seem to be very much help at all. But this sleepover was filled with narcissists, man. Because as the thing went on, there's this dude, Ashton Hall, and you start to see, you know, I think this is a bad idea. I think these streams are a bad idea for these celebrities, for these social media celebrities, because, man, they go through such efforts to build up this persona. I mean, if you look at Ashton Hall's Instagram page, you would think this dude's a beast. I remember the first time I ever saw stuff popping up, he looks like a beast. He looks like a machine, like a workhorse. He's doing all this stuff, and it's intense, and it's crazy, and it's impressive. And then you see him on the stream, and he looks like a punk. And you see the narcissism come out of all these dudes. Same thing with Ryan Garcia. If you only ever saw him in the I was gonna say in the cage. If you only ever saw him in the ring, you would think, cool, this guy's fast, this guy's crisp, this guy's a champion. Now, I would have never thought that, because I remember back in the day, you know, when some of you guys were still in your Huggies, Ryan Garcia in his garage, shirtless, you know, just doing his thing, dancing, doing TikToks. Dude, those were my first impressions of Ryan Garcia were before I even saw him in the ring, unfortunately. My first impressions of Ryan Garcia was, who's this twink that I can't get out of my algorithm? This dude that was in his garage hitting the spar bar looking like he was wearing rouge. I saw that long before I even saw him in a boxing ring. I didn't even know he was a boxer at first. I thought he was friends with David Dobrik or something like that. But what I'm trying to say, whether it's Ashton Hall, whether it's Ryan Garcia, they come up with, like, there's the thing that they are. You're either a world champion boxer, or you're this crazy jacked sprinter guy, bodybuilder, whatever it is. But then when they stream and you get to see behind the curtain, it's like, oh, they're standing in the driveway, seeing who could jump the farthest. They're trying to touch the rain gutters. I mean, it totally shatters the illusion. And when I brought up narcissists a little bit ago, and I don't like throwing that word around because I'm not a 20-year-old TikToker girl that, you know, has to hit her quota of how many times she says that every day. So, you know, certain words in our society have been ruined by certain sects of people. And I mean SECTS. I don't mean sex as in women. Although it does work as well. But that's neither here or either. What I'm trying to say is, you start to see behind the curtain, and you start to see the fragile egos of these people and how insecure they are. Ashton was shooting down so many ideas because he kept saying, I don't want to do anything that I might lose. I don't want to do anything that I might, look, and I know certain things, especially if you're fans of certain people, it's going to sound like I'm milking it, and it's going to sound like I'm being hard on them. You have to watch it. You have to watch it. It's still very findable on YouTube. It's like between a 5 and 6 hour long video. You'll see it as like a thumbnail of Ryan. It's kind of blurry, kind of fuzzy, kind of pixelated. I don't know how many times, and the comments are flooded with it. The people are like, this dude's a punk. He kept saying stuff like, I don't want to do, no, I don't want to, I can't win that. What are you talking about? Look at this guy. I can't beat him. And it's like, dude, it's about the fun. It's about the collaboration. And they kept saying this. It's about the clips. We got a clip for him. Did we get some good clips? That's the whole ecosystem right now. Can you clip it? And Ryan was doing the same thing. He didn't, the moment the dude didn't want to wear the thing, he knew that he was dealing with the savage, and he didn't even want to hit him. And the first shot, he had 3 shots. The first shot, it was like one of my baby nephews, one of my baby toddler nephews was trying to hit me in the stomach. I don't even understand what he was trying to do with that. That wouldn't have hurt anybody. It wouldn't have hurt Arman's homie if he used that amount of power and hit him right on the nose. There was nothing behind it. I don't understand what he was trying to do. And then he did the second one. The dude didn't even flinch. It was like, did you do it? I'm waiting. And then he vetoed the third one. Ryan Garcia said, I don't even want to do it. I don't want to do it. Because he knew if he did the third one and the guy didn't go down, how bad it would look. That's his whole thing. That's his whole shtick. And the dude was doing it with no bodyguard. Ryan can't go out like that. So he started spazzing. He's like, I can't do it. I can't do it. My anxiety. I can't do it. And Arman's like, all right, that's cool. I'll just take the money. He's like, no. And then he started getting his lawyer. Come on. And then he's like, all right, okay, cool. Let's forget the body shots. I just wanna spar with the guy, with Arman's his sidekick, his homie, whatever. He's like, forget the body shots. Let's just spar. Let's make it more equal. Let's just spar. So then they started sparring. And at this point, Ryan Garcia had already said, forget about the money. I don't care about the money. And he said it blatantly, like at least 3 times. He said, I would rather give them the money than do the third hit. He kept saying, I don't want to hurt him. I don't want to hurt him. It was kind of like that thing when someone says, hey, Jean-Claude Van Damme, how come you don't fight in the UFC? Hey, look, I don't mean to put words in his mouth. He's never said this. Let's just say someone who's like a crazy Tai Chi master or something. You know the old thing where you're like, hey, why don't you fight in the UFC? And they say, I cannot, for my technique is too deadly. So they're basically saying, I would kill everybody I can. Everybody's heard that, right? Ryan Garcia was basically pulling the Tai Chi master card. He was saying, I don't want to give him the last hit. I don't want to hurt him. I don't want to hurt this guy. I got my lawyer here. I don't want to do life in prison. I don't want to hurt this guy. I'd rather pay him. I'd rather give him the money because I'm afraid I'm going to hurt him. I'm afraid I'm too powerful. That's literally what he was doing for like 5 to 10 minutes. I don't want to hurt him. I don't want to hurt him. My anxiety. I don't want to kill this guy. Just give him the money. So then they worked. Arman's like, you want me to take? So you're good? I'm going to take it. He's like, take the money. They took a photo with it. Arman's homie, Arman and Ryan Garcia were on the photo. Arman's holding the money. They're smiling. He's like, all right, cool. It's my money. Cool. I won. And Ryan said, cool. I'd rather do, again, I know I'm kind of repeating myself here, but so was Ryan. And I don't want this to go between the cracks. Ryan definitively, blatantly, articulately said, I want you guys here to have the money. I'd rather pay you than hit the guy again. Boom. Let's move on with the night. Let's do some sparring now. Arman said, cool. He took a picture with the money, put the money right back down there on the stairs, and he's like, I know where it is. I'll come back for it later. It's like when you put your phone down or your Rich wallet, which technically you don't have to because it fits perfectly in your front pocket, even though I'm not sponsored by them. Tells you that I was telling the truth the whole time, and sponsors cannot buy me to lie. I'll only work with them if I'm telling the truth. Anyway, he puts the money down and Arman starts putting the gloves on Ryan. He's like, here, let me help you out. And then Ryan's getting ready to spar with Arman's homie. And Arman sees somebody go over to the money and walk away with it. And Arman's like, whoa, brother, where did my money go? What are you doing with my money, brother? And Ryan's like, no, it's cool. And the whole time, throughout this whole stream, from that moment and after, you could see Ryan and his homeless-looking attorney kind of whispering stuff into each other's ears, kind of like giving each other updates and making sure whatever, moving things around. It was weird. they'd kind of go off to the side and whisper sweet nothings into each other's ear. So the dude takes off, and Ryan's like, no, stay here. It's cool. I'm gonna wire you the money. We need that because we're gonna do something later. We needed to have that on hand. And it was like, no, brother. I made bet because I see money here. I see cash here. I want to take cash. I see it. I win it. It's mine now. I want to leave with what I won. And Ryan's like, no. And he's like, we're gonna wire you. We needed to have that today for something. First of all, if you needed to have it for something, why would you put it on the line? You know, he probably thought he was gonna win and it wasn't gonna be an issue. But even still, who's gonna do something like that? And so you could tell, and this was maybe the most uneasy moment of the entire stream. And you could see people around kind of standing by, bodyguard looking types of dudes like, is something gonna go down right now? And Arman, you could tell, you could tell he was doing everything to stay in control. He wasn't gonna go headbutt him or do something like that. He was saying how he felt, and he was saying that he didn't like it and that he didn't think it was right. But you could see, it's kind of hard to explain. You could see in his eyes and in his face that he was very much deciding to not lose it. And Ryan, it was a little bit disturbing. It was frustrating because there was something even smirkish, something very, very Ilia Tapuera about his face. Like he just didn't care and knew that he lost and had no shame about not honoring the bet. And he kept saying, I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to pay you. And Arman started saying something very weird. At least a couple times Arman mentioned what rhymes with the Flexican fartal. Okay? I think a lot of you know what I'm saying here. Arman Tsarukyan mentioned something that rhymes with the Flexican fartal. And he said, call them, bring them here, call them. And it took me a while for it to settle. I was like, why is he saying that? What does that mean? And I started to think, is he making some kind of an implication? Is Ryan Garcia in some kind of trouble? Is he affiliated with somebody like along these lines that Arman Tsarukyan is mentioning? Is Tsarukyan implying that that's the source of his funds? Is Tsarukyan implying that Ryan Garcia is up to something like Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.? Or the third? It's Junior, right? The famous guy who was actually a good boxer, his son. I can't remember if the main real actual fighter was a junior and his son's the third. Either way, you guys know who I'm talking about. So Tsarukyan kept bringing that up. And I was like, why is he saying that? It's getting weird now. And they're like, and they didn't even respond to that. They didn't even want to. They were like, we're going to wire. And then at a certain point, Ryan Garcia, knowing, and we know this now because we're here after the fact, hearing everything that Ryan Garcia is saying and refusing to pay, Ryan Garcia shook Arman Tsarukyan's hand. Ryan Garcia shook Arman Tsarukyan's hand, with his own hand. It was a real handshake. No CGI. He shook his hand and he said, as, you know, for whatever this means, you know. I think it's kind of corny when people say stuff like this, to be honest. But he shook his hand and he says, as a man, tomorrow in the morning, as a man. He kept saying, as a man. Come on, I promise, as a man. I'm shaking your hand, as a man. And Arman, from where he comes from and the way he operates and the way he keeps his word, he's like, oh, why didn't you say so? And then he was good. His whole demeanor just changed. He was, you didn't tell me you were saying this as a man. And then you shook my hand. Cool, bro. We just swapped DNA right here through our pores. We're sweating and everything. Quicker process. Cool, man. Ryan Garcia looked him in the face, shook his hand, said, as a man, I'm sending you the money tomorrow morning. And then Ryan Garcia goes on to kind of hop around. And he was doing this even before they shook hands. There was a moment during that exchange, Ryan Garcia, he's kind of pacing. He's kind of walking around. He ends up behind Arman because Arman was talking both to Ryan and the lawyer. So his attention was kind of diverted. Ryan Garcia at one point, because he's hopping around, he's getting kind of animated, he's talking, he's pacing. He ends up behind Arman. He sticks his tongue out, and I don't know if Arman saw this. It was kind of reminiscent of I don't know if you guys saw the short floating around where some kid that was streaming, I think with clavicular, he went like this to Arman, like if he was going to hit him when Arman wasn't looking, and then later Arman saw it and he went and checked him. Ryan got behind Arman, and he stuck his tongue out, and he started wagging it. And he had his eyes like all crazy, like he was like basically saying, I'm punking you. He did it behind him without Arman seeing it. I wonder how Arman would act now if he saw that one. He stuck his tongue out, started wagging. He was like, ah, ha, 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 like clowning on him. And he kept smirking at all his dudes in the room, all the dudes that were part of his posse. And the whole time, and again, you can watch the video yourself. Ryan Garcia's eyes were very bloodshot. Stupid bloodshot. He kept blinking. It was almost like if he was trying to send Morse code to all the homies in the room, trying to tell them what the plan was in case things went sideways. Dude wouldn't stop blinking. He wouldn't stop swiping at his nose. He wouldn't stop the whole thing. He wouldn't stop swiping. He was swiping more than Tracy Cortez on Tinder. He wouldn't the whole time. And you can see, not only did I watch the 5-6 hour stream for you guys, again, it definitely wasn't for me. I did it for you guys so that I could come correct. I watched other ones too. I watched not only the 5-6 hour stream, I watched other videos that were excerpts of that same stream. Some of them with better resolution, some of them so I could see, kind of get a feeling like, am I seeing what I think I'm seeing? I was kind of looking at the comments. Okay, they were kind of affirming some things. And a lot of the people, I mean, it's not just me. Everybody was talking about how it looked like Ryan Garcia was ridiculously coked out of his mind. His eyes were crazy and he wouldn't stop. He needed like a third hand to operate his phone. The whole time he was hanging out with Arman, he's just looking at his phone. And the other time, both of his hands are like this. It was crazy. So he made the $40K bet. He lost it, or he gave it up. He said, here, go ahead. I don't even care. And then it turned into a kind of a little sparring match with Arman's homie, which, I mean, I don't want to get carried away and say that Arman's homie got the better of him, because it seemed like almost all his shots were landing on Garcia's arms. But this moment didn't make Garcia look any better. And I think what could validate me saying that, and to let you know that even Garcia felt the same way, is that after that, you could hear him telling one of his homies that it's hard to spar without doing face shots because they weren't hitting in the head. He says it's hard because you can't find any openings like that. So he was trying to find a way after the fact to be like, yeah, man, I was kind of up against it. There was really no way that it was going to look good. So that's how that went. He made a bet, forfeited, just gave up, said, I'll give you the money, went into a different version of it, didn't look impressive there either. And again, before I move on and forget, he told Arman, I'm going to pay you. We shake hands on it. As a man, I'm going to pay you. You're going to get your money tomorrow morning. So then Arman's like, cool, that's all I needed to hear because I'm a man of my word and I could work with that. So after this little sparring session, they went out to eat. They were having a good time together. And they were trying to enjoy themselves and move on. And that's kind of one of the things that makes me feel sick right here, that Ryan must have known in that moment when he was telling him that he was going to pay him, that he wasn't going to. And he still went on to hang out with them, to go out on the town with them, to break bread with him, to eat, drink, and be merry with them, to have all these laughs and conversation and jokes, to spend time with them there. They went shopping after, they're walking around, they're meeting with other influencers, doing their thing. And he just knew the whole time that he was just being a two-face to him. But when they were eating dinner, there's another dude there, another creator. I don't know if I'm sure you've seen his face, but I wouldn't have known his name if I wouldn't have heard it. I probably heard his name for the first time ever during the stream. It's a guy named Adam W. So I guess apparently he's homies with Ryan Garcia. So they were at dinner with Adam W. and Ryan Garcia made he was trying to recoup. I don't know what the 40 thing is. Maybe it's like the number of completion or something like that. It's Ryan Garcia is very much into, well, he says he's very much, like a lot of these celebrities do, they say very much into their faith and Christianity and stuff like that, but nothing at all whatsoever about their lifestyle would ever tip you off as to, you know, this much. The only time you ever get a whiff of their faith is when they say it and then they move on and then live like the world. So anyway, Ryan Garcia bet Adam W that he could bench 315 pounds, libras, lbs, 315 pounds 4 times. And he told Adam W. And again, it's kind of weird. Maybe, bro, if he was going through these lengths just to continue to try to trick and manipulate and lie to Tsarukyan, how twisted, man. Because it's like, which one is it? Did he think he was going to pay him at that moment then? Or did he know he wasn't and he was just trying to trick him even further and make Arman feel comfortable? I don't know. Because Ryan Garcia told Adam W at the table, man, I bet you 40K because I need to make up my 40K. I lost 40K. Now I need to get it back. And he bet him I could bench 315 pounds 4 times. And Arman, being the good-hearted dude that he is, he goes, what, brother, huh? And his guy translated for him what that was in kilos. And as soon as he heard it, because when they were talking about pounds, Arman was like, oh, okay. And then when they said kilos, you could see his face. He goes, what, brother? No, don't do it. He's trying to help Ryan. Ryan is this snake, this slimy scumbag that is ripping him off, that is scamming him, that is lying to his face. And it's one thing when someone just lies to you. Who cares, right? But then when they're pretending to be your homie, that's different, man. So this is who Ryan is. And Arman's like, no, brother, don't do that. That's not a good idea. No. And then he tries to buy with Adam W. He buys Ryan a week. He says, give him like a week to train. And he was giving Ryan tips as to what to do within that time so that he could try to get there. 315 pounds bench. 315. I'm not talking squats, by the way. I'm not talking leg press. 315 pounds bench 4 times. Now, I know for a fact that Ryan Garcia cannot bench 315 pounds 4 times because I could barely bench 315 pounds 10 times. There is no way that little twig could do 315 pounds 4 times. I don't care about his core. There's no way. He doesn't have the build for it. So anyway, what this turned into, after their dinner, they were out on the town. They're walking around. They're hanging around, joking, talking, laughing, fake, disgusting. And then after the fact comes out, there's a video that comes out a couple days later. Arman's on the phone with Ryan. He's like, hey, bro, are you going to pay me? Are you going to pay me the money? Ryan says no. He says, you scammed me. You guys scammed me. Apparently, Arman Tsarukyan's homie that was taking the punches and that sparred with him is some kind of fighter. I didn't even catch the guy's name. I don't even know how to look him up. Apparently, he's some kind of a fighter. I don't know if he's a boxer, if he's an MMA fighter. I don't know. Some kind of a fighter. And Ryan was upset about that. So Ryan says, no, you guys scammed me. I feel like you weren't honest with me. I feel like you're messing with me. By the way, Ryan said, I'll shake on, and this was after he had already kind of realized that, because people on the spot, you could hear Ashton Hall say it a bunch of times while they were still at the location. Wait a minute, that dude's a fighter? And they wanted me to do that with him? Oh, man, you guys were crazy. So they knew at the place that the dude was a fighter. They knew there at the place at the time when Ryan was saying, shake hands, as a man, I'll pay you tomorrow. They already knew. So this wasn't some new revelation. So Ryan says, here, you know what I will do? I'll make it better. How about instead of that, forget 40K, 100K. I'll box you guys. And then, because Arman said, wait, you talking about my friend? You talking about him or me? Ryan says, both of you, either one. I'll box both of you. Garcia says, I'll box you guys 8 rounds. And if you win, I'll give you 100K. Winner gets 100K. 8 rounds, box. So it's not like, okay, you won the 40K, whatever, let's up the... No. He's trying to make that go away now. He says instead of... He's trying to distract him. Oh, isn't 100K better than 40K? Yeah, but give me the 40K I already won first. but he's just trying to distract him. So he says 100K, 8 rounds, whoever wins, 100K. Tsarukyan says, how about 1 round MMA, and you don't even have to beat me. Just last. Just last. 1 round, I'll give you $1 million. Ryan says, chale. He says, I don't think so. I don't think so. So that's where we currently stand right now. Ryan saying, I think you hustled me. How did he hustle you, Ryan? I mean, basically, by default, it seems like what Ryan is saying is you're supposed to come in here. You're supposed to come in here being lesser than. You're supposed to come in here not being an athlete, not being a fighter, not being in shape. You're supposed to come in here to be the type of person that I could get a clip out of. You're supposed to come in here being the kind of feeble person that I could put down at my weight. So how dare you guys? How dare you guys bring an able-bodied individual in here that's actually going to give me some resistance? That's basically what Ryan is saying. How could you? You scammed me. How brother, how did I scam you? Because you brought a dude that's actually strong. How dare you? I'm supposed to hit these other influencers in the stomach that, you know, they make TikToks and they do reaction videos and they dance. That's who I put down. You brought in an athlete. How dare you? That's essentially what he's saying. So he's saying, forget it. And he's making it seem like if he feels that he's justified because he keeps saying things like, I feel like you scammed me. What that's basically saying is that Ryan Garcia is like the remember that wave of the fake pranksters? That's like what Ryan's doing. I'll do this stuff on social media all the time, but only if my victim fits this criteria. So where we stand right now, Ryan is saying, I'm not going to pay you. I lost the bet. I shook hands. I said, as a man, I will wire it to you. And yes, I said this with the information that dude was a fighter. But now, days later, I'm going to use that fact that I already knew, even when I shook hands and said, I'll pay you, to justify why I'm not going to pay you. And I'm going to go further and make it seem like I'm doing something good here by upping the ante to 100K and distracting and deflecting, even though I haven't taken care of and acknowledged the 40K first. So he's been a little thief. And I think, you know what freaked me out when I made this connection earlier? To Giorgio Boyos, the dude that Arman wrestled with in the RAF. He set the precedent for this. Giorgio Boyos made a $10,000 bet against Arman Tsarukyan in RAF that Arman could not take him down. And Arman took him down. And Giorgio didn't pay him. So I think Ryan's like, this guy's a punk. Everyone thinks he's some kind of warrior. He's a punk. People don't even have to pay him. What's he going to do? What's he going to do? If he does anything crazy, Dana's never going to give him a title shot. His hands are tied. He can't do anything. What you going to do? Can't do anything. I'll call my lawyer. And then my lawyer will call his public defender. We'll backtrack this thing as long as we need to. Giorgio Boyos made a bet with Arman, and then Giorgio's excuse was, oh, that takedown didn't count because of where it was in regard to the mat. He was saying he pushed me out. Arman saying, I started the takedown. The takedown started. The technique started before we went out of bounds. That's a technicality. I took you down. Giorgio saying, no, that's not how it works. He didn't want to pay him. They fought again. And Giorgio was saying, hey, okay, if you take me down, if you actually take me down, which you didn't the first time, which he did, then I'll pay you. Arman took him down again. Boyos paid him. However, here's how other people aren't looking at it. As far as I'm confirmed, Boyos still hasn't paid him. If Giorgio Boyos paid Arman for what Arman did in that second fight, if that's Giorgio's thinking, okay, I'm paying you for this takedown that you did in the second fight. Oh, cool. You still owe him 10K because the bet was already fulfilled. He already took you down, the thing that he was supposed to do, his objective. He did that in the first fight. You didn't pay him. If you're saying that you're paying him for something he did in the second fight, which you have, you still owe him for the first fight then. Because, I guess whatever you did in the second fight, that was just like a good faith. That was kind of like a donation. That was just kind of like a tip, like a gift. He was never paid officially for the takedown in the first match. So technically, and I don't know if this was some kind of a mind hack, some kind of a manipulation tactic that Giorgio was like, I still haven't paid him. Did I lose 10K? Yes. But in my mind, I know that I didn't pay him for that first fight, so he's a pug. Giorgio Pollo still owes him 10K. He's still flaking on that bet. And I think that people are able to get away with this because, look, Arman doesn't operate like Nate Diaz. He doesn't operate even like Jorge Masvidal. He doesn't operate even like Khamzat Chimaev. Dudes that will take it out of the cage, you know? Dudes that will go fight at the club. Dudes that are saying that they'll kill on the street. Dudes that are acting. Arman's not like that. Maybe he'll throw a headbutt at a weigh-in. Maybe he'll swing at a fan. But you know what those things are? When they are, and they're few and far between, they are impulse control issues. It's not him going out there and saying at all times, it's on site, green light, I'm a killer, don't mess with me. What happens in the streets, anything goes. He's not one of those dudes, and we've seen plenty of them in MMA, and you should know who I'm talking about. A lot of them exist, where they will be very bold about it. Hey, you want to do this? Find me in the streets. I'm going to drop the pin. Look at Sean Strickland trying to look all hard, making videos with all his AR-22s behind him. Arman doesn't do stuff like that. He's a nice guy. You know what he did when Giorgio actually paid up? He took that $10,000. There's a video of it out there. He took that $10,000. He says, I'm going to give it to this kid. A kid that was struggling with some health issues. He showed a video. He says, I've already been supporting this kid. This is going to go right to him. I'm helping this kid. Have you seen the video of Arman online where there was some kid that was happy to meet him and he was showing him like some shadow boxing? And Arman's like, do you train anywhere? He's like, no, I can't afford it. Arman said, I'm going to pay for your training for 1 year. And now there's video surfacing of the kid over there training. He's a good-hearted individual. He's out here like Robin Hood. He ain't just, he's taking that money. He's stealing it out of the clutch of the greedy little people like Ryan Garcia just so that he could help other people. I think he's a good-hearted individual with a bad rap, not because of any kind of premeditation, not because he's a bad dude. It's just some impulse control. Some fan does something crazy, he might take a little swing. Dan Hooker says or does something that maybe the mic didn't pick up. He throws a headbutt. These things happen. But he's not out there in the street trying to end people's lives. And I think a lot of it comes with, I'm kind of starting to think that the things that we see from Arman Tsarukyan, a lot of the actions from him, I think he might have got picked on as a kid. You have to think of the tough places where he grew up. Because you might want to look at him in his little snow globe and be like, oh, he was pampered, he had money or whatever. But think about the cities in which he grew up, the neighborhoods, the schools. These people probably hated him. They probably teased him, clowned on him, picked on him. That's what tends to happen with people that are seen as the little rich kids, the little entitled kids, when there's a lot of other kids that are hungry, that have holes in their shoes. They probably picked on, I hate daddy's money. He's probably been hearing daddy's money since he was buying lunch from the snack bar. Since he wasn't getting those state-approved meals, he was actually getting in line at the snack bar. There wasn't even a line. He's the only one in those little Russian, little Georgian cities that was able to buy some French fries from the snack bar. He's been hearing daddy's money since he was 7 years old. And when everyone else was playing football, rugby, boxing, wrestling, all these roughneck sports, he was playing hockey. Arman Tsarukyan was playing hockey. You know what he probably heard a lot? Hey, what's up, figure skater? Where's your nylons? Oh, cute little ice skates, figure skater. That had to be a tough upbringing. We look at him now and what it's turned him into. But you got to think about him as the little innocent kid. Everybody's out there trying to be the next, in his era, everyone's trying to grow up and be, the next Chuck Liddell. And he's over there, they're probably calling him Tanya Harding when he's over there walking around carrying his skates in his hand. We have no idea what he had to put up with over there in those tough Russian cities. So Giorgio's tries to rip him off, and he's still getting away with it. Ryan Garcia is currently in the process of ripping him off. And you know what? This sets further precedents. Dana White's going to try to rip him off now, too. He's going to say, oh, I'll give you the title shot, but I ain't going to pay you. I'm not going to pay you. And I started to think something this morning when I was thinking about recording this video. I wonder if that's why Arman Tsarukyan, see, we think he's going out on this worldwide tour just dominating, just making the rounds, all these side quests, collecting these infinity stones. And we think that he's just making himself into this global warrior, right? Well, I'm starting to think that maybe he has to. He has to. He's probably exhausted. I ran out of breath, excuse me. He's probably exhausted. He probably doesn't want to go to all these different promotions. He probably has to, because from one to other, every single one he fights and wins at, the checks keep bouncing.